So, next up, we have a surprise guest, actually. He was not on the original programme, but we're lucky enough to have secured Selim. Come, Selim. Selim is actually the Benelux representative, so he takes care of Luxembourg, amongst other countries, for the signatories of the UN PRI and a whole load of other things at the UN PRI. You're going to talk to us about lots of things, what's going on at PRI, what can we expect, a bit of what's going on at the market. So welcome. I leave the floor to you and tell us all your insights.
Yes. Can you hear me well? Yeah, perfect. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all here. As mentioned before, I appreciate this might be a surprise for some of you to see me here. Well, it's a surprise to me too. Isabel sent me an email on Monday asking if I could step in, and I only read it on Tuesday morning on my train to Luxembourg, actually, to assist this amazing event. I also appreciate that I am the 8th speaker of the day, 16th of the whole edition, if I'm correct. And I have bad news because I don't have slides, so you'll have to listen to me. That being said, indeed, when Isabel reached out to me, despite the short notice, it made absolutely no doubt that I was about to accept. There are just too many things happening, at the PRI, obviously, but in the world as well, in Europe and in the financial industry, generally speaking, not to take an opportunity such as this one to just speak with you and engage with you. I'm thrilled to see as well that we have the younger generation as well represented at that event. I think it's very important for us at the PRI because we really believe that training will bridge some of the skill gaps that we see currently in the financial industry when it comes to ESG integration, but also at a larger scale outcome analysis of a portfolio. As written on the screen, my name is Selim Boudabaye. I represent the PRI in the Benelux region. I've been in the organization for 3 years. And prior to that, my career was mostly dedicated to proxy voting and stewardship. So I've been working in the business of responsible investment for more than 10 years now. And might not be a lot if I compare to some of you in the room, but still, I've seen stuff. I have 2 goals today, which will be basically the 2 parts of my presentation for you. First goal, which will maybe relate a little bit more to the student population of the room, is to basically remind you, I don't want to say teach you because it sounds a bit cocky, but explain what are the PRI, where do we come from, where we are now, how did we change. Funnily enough, LuxFlag and the PRI share a birthday. We were also born in 2006, and we will also celebrate our 20th anniversary next year. Maybe we should do something in common. So that will be my first part, and also to maybe give you a bit of a flavor of basically what we bring to our signatories, what is our mission, and what are the tools, some of the tools, because obviously I cannot explain everything in 10 minutes. But basically that will be the goal of the first part of my presentation. The second part of my presentation is to remind you that while ESG, responsible investment in general, is currently under a lot of scrutiny, one could even say under attack, there is still a very, very important business case for responsible investment. And I really emphasize the word business case. And my goal in the second half of this presentation is to give you some speaking points, some arguments that you might be able to take to your organizations, to your clients, maybe even to your teachers, to really emphasize that message that responsible investment is still very much investment. So the PRI, who are we? So the PRI, we were founded in 2006 at the initiative of Kofi Annan, was then the Secretary General of the United Nations. and he brought 63 of the most influential institutional investors in the world at that time, including some big name of the region such as APG, PGGM, and others, to basically brainstorm a little bit and think on how can we use finance to help the world transition to a better place, basically. So a greener world, a fairer world, and yeah, so finance was really seen at that time as a tool to accelerate and finance, obviously, the transition. So 63 signatories in 2006, and at the moment we speak, we have a little bit more than 5,000 signatories. So I cannot compute the percentage in my head right now, but you can see the growth has been exponential in the past 20 years, which has proven to be a challenge for the PRI. So the first part of that growth really took off in the early 2010 up to 2015 years, where we reached out approximately 2,000 signatories, and the rest joined between 2017 and 2022. So you can imagine a non-for-profit organization with 100 people having to deal with a few dozens of signatories to suddenly 5,000 signatories between Chile and China and everything in between. So a very wide range of different institutional investors, but not only, because service providers can also be PRI signatories. We also have network supporters of the PRI, which Let's Flag is part of. So what it meant, well, it has been an immense bottom-up approach to integrate sustainability into investment processes, from strategy to allocation, analysis to stewardship. We had to adapt to several factors, including the growth that I just mentioned, but also in more recent years to the ESG backlash, the instability in the EU legislative framework when it comes to sustainable finance, and also to the fact that, well, the PRI reporting framework was the first reporting framework on responsible investment. Well, it's nothing to say that it's not the only one anymore, and far from it. You have mandatory reporting framework that I've seen that are basically being created in several jurisdictions, but also several voluntary reporting framework dependent on asset classes, dependent on types of institutions and everyone. I mean, there's GRI, there is CDP, there is GRESB for infrastructure and real estate as well. So basically, we're not the only one anymore. And having that many signatories, we had to figure out the fact that basically the one-size-fits-all approach that was, to some extent, I mean, I guess if my predecessor was there, they would be very unhappy for me to say that, but it was indeed to some extent a one-size-fits-all approach, which just doesn't work anymore. We had to show some kind of flexibility, which took us some time to realize, and which we are in the process of doing. And also we had to bring value to our signatories. There was a lot of enthusiasm towards ESG in the early 2015s to 2020. It's not the case anymore. Maybe it will come back, maybe not, we don't know, but still, even though the PRI is non-for-profit, PRI membership is based on a fee, and we need to bring value to our signatories. And we did that by bringing them several tools to basically fulfill the mission that I was mentioning before, transitioning this world we live in to something better. So just maybe a few examples of the tools that we bring to our signatories. You may know, for instance, that the PRI is one of the leading organizations behind Climate Action 100+, which is a collaborative engagement platform that focuses on climate change, where basically those organizations, including the PRI, facilitate engagement between actually more than 100 companies now, I think around 160 companies that are among the biggest greenhouse gas issuers in the world, and their shareholders that are either PRI signatories or members of the other organizations that are basically helping us managing this platform. On top of Climate Action 100+, the PRI also launched two other collaborative engagement platforms in recent years. Advance, that I actually had the pleasure to present here at Lex Flag Sustainable Investment Week in 2023, which is our collaborative engagement platform on human rights. Advance focuses on companies that are from two different sectors, so mining and extracting and renewable energies. So this, I would say that the principle is the same. We facilitate engagement between PRI signatories and companies on that sector. And we chose, according to a very in-depth methodology, 42 companies with which we facilitate engagement. The last initiative of that type that we created and that we launched is called Spring. It's also a collaborative engagement platform that focuses on biodiversity and more specifically on deforestation and land use. Spring was launched last year, and we are seeing the results of the first engagement this year, which are really, really promising. Maybe on a different topic, you'll hear me say the word engagement quite a lot, but this is a very different types of engagement actually. Last year, we also launched a pilot on sovereign engagement, where we facilitated the dialogue between PRI signatories and the government of Australia when it comes to climate change and biodiversity. This pilot was successful, and we are actually onboarding new countries and facilitating dialogue with new countries to this sovereign engagement with Japan and Canada, and probably more countries to come. As I mentioned before, we realized that the PRI reporting framework, which was kind of our flagship product for quite some time, might be a bit outdated. We realize as well that our signatories face significant reporting burden from legal reporting, mandatory reporting, but also other initiatives that they are part of. So I have a good news for those PRI signatories in the room, which is that the reporting for 2026 will be significantly streamlined and simplified. On average, PRI signatories had to answer to 240 indicators, so 240 questions in order to fulfill their PRI reporting, and this will be cut down to 40 questions in 2026 for the mandatory part of the reporting. The reporting will also be embedded in a brand new online platform called My PRI, which will be like a very designed place online where you will be redirected to resources that are relevant to you as a signatory. And My PRI will also be the home of another very exciting project that we have at the PRI, which is called Pathway. Pathway is an educational tool that took us quite some time to develop, where signatories will be able to choose between 3 pathways. Pathway A, that focuses on what I would call, without being criticizing or anything, regular ESG integration. Pathway B is the bridge between ESG integration and starting to look at the outcome of your portfolio. And Pathway C, that really focuses on sustainable outcomes of your portfolio. We don't use the word impact at the PRI, but that's basically what it is. So I guess that's it. So stay tuned, because everything on reporting and Pathway will be live on our website on the 4th of November, with PRI in person taking place in Sao Paulo. And that enables me to move on to the second part of my speech. You see, so I have some handwritten news and some printed news because I could only print 5 pages at my hotel. So on the second part, I'd like to start with a simple truth that I think we are all feeling across the industry. It has never been more challenging to defend the value of responsible investment, but at the same time, it has never been more important. In recent conversations that I had with many of you, I've heard the same pressures coming up repeatedly. Markets are volatile. Political narratives are shifting. Regulations are complex and sometimes inconsistent. Internally, you may face questions about cost, performance, or whether ESG has gone too far or whether ESG has lost relevance. Externally, clients still expect long-term returns, but increasingly also resilience, credibility, and trust. So I believe that this moment raises a very powerful question. How do we continue to invest responsibly in a world that seems to test that responsibility every day? My answer, well, it's not only my answers, but I would say part of PRI's answer, and what I hope that I will leave with you today is this. Responsible investment is not an optional add-on. It's part of what it means to be a good fiduciary in today's market. It's not about politics. It's about performance, risk management, and long-term value. And now, more than ever, we must be able to articulate that confidently inside our organizations. And this is why we at the PRI are building a messaging framework with six key takeaways backed by academic research and real-world data that show a growing evidence base linking between fiduciary duty and responsible investment. And I will go through those 6 points right now. The first one is that responsible investment is fundamentally about better decision-making and fiduciary duty. Studies across global equity, and actually I was a bit worried when Lisa started her presentation because this is basically everything I'm about to say, so apologies for the repeating. But yeah, those studies across global equity and credit markets consistently show that companies with stronger sustainability and governance practices are typically more resilient, experience fewer severe incidents, and deliver steadier returns over time. Whether we look at equity fundamentals, bond spreads, cash flow stability, or default risk, ESG performance has become part of the financial fabric of company strengths. In other words, this is not about choosing between responsibility and return, it's about using responsible investment to support return. Second point, ESG and governance are now mainstream financial factors, and I think Lisa as well made a very good job proving that point. They are not niche considerations anymore. Let's be clear. Sustainability and governance are no longer fringe considerations or marketing language. They are part of the factor toolkit that we use alongside value, momentum, size, and quality to make sense of markets. Portfolio managers across traditional and sustainable strategies alike are increasingly integrating environmental, social, and governance insights because they support a clearer understanding of value drivers. Global surveys show that large majorities of investors, even those not explicitly branded as sustainable or ESG investors, use these factors because they believe they are financially material. So responsible investment isn't some ideological shift. It's part of modern portfolio analysis. Third point, sustainability helps investors adapt to a world where intangible risks increasingly drive value. The sources of value and risk are changing. Today, company performance is shaped not just by physical assets, even though they are very important, as shown in the previous presentation, but by intangibles like brand trust, human capital, regulatory preparedness. I think we've experienced that quite a lot with the omnibus recently, innovation capacity, and societal license to operate. If we take climate risk, for instance, both physical climate risk and transition climate risk, it's already priced into markets. Temperature volatility influences productivity, firms' returns. Transition risks affect cost of capital, and social expectations can drive rapid shifts in consumer behavior. If we ignore these factors, we are not staying neutral. We are simply becoming less informed. Responsible investment helps us future-proof portfolios in a world where yesterday's models no longer capture tomorrow's risks. Fourth point, and this one is very dear to me, given my background. Stewardship is not activism. It is active ownership that protects and enhances long-term value. It's a common misunderstanding that really pisses me off a little bit that I sometimes face with my signatories or even internally, where I see people say, yeah, your ESG integration is fine, but engagement is activism. No, let me reframe that. All long-term investing requires oversight, whether through proxy voting, engagement, collaboration, or direct dialogue with companies. Stewardship is a way to protect value and mitigate risk. There are several case studies from active ownership across public equities, credit, and even private markets that have shown that structured engagement can improve risk management, boost company value, and influence corporate strategy around material issues. Even passive investors recognize that when you cannot divest systemic risk, voice becomes more powerful than exit. That's my fifth point. Long-term responsible investing contributes to market resilience and consistent value creation. When we think long-term, we invest differently. We allocate capital towards companies prepared for future risks and opportunities. Over time, that strengthens market functioning and allows capital to flow more efficiently to durable value creators. Meta-analysis covering hundreds of studies consistently show that ESG performance correlates more strongly with financial outperformance over long time horizons. And that was shown as well, I think, in Jan from ING's presentation. And that is important. The benefits of responsible investment often compound over time. And it's not only is it important, it also makes sense. Resilience, good governance, and future-oriented planning take time to show up, but when they do, they matter. The sixth one, which is probably the one some of you might disagree with, but I don't really care. Policy and transparency are not obstacles. They are enablers of better markets. Sometimes regulation feels heavy. We all understand the reporting burden, but we also know markets operate best with transparency. Mandatory reporting and better disclosure reduce information asymmetry, support efficient capital allocation, and enable risk-adjusted decision-making. Regulation is increasingly recognizing what the market already knows. Sustainability-related risk is financial risk, and governance is central to investor trust. I should probably send that sentence to the Commission because I beg they disagree with me right now. So where does that leave us? I believe that we are entering a new phase. Responsible investment is no longer about whether I should be a responsible investor. It's about how well will I be a responsible investor. And that's where each of us play a crucial role. Internally, many of you are asked, show me the evidence. Show me the link to performance. Show me why this matters financially. We are in the process of building this evidence base, us at the PRI, but others around the table, across asset classes, across time horizons, risk drivers, fundamental performance, and stewardship impacts. But we know, unfortunately, that scientific evidence is often, for some people, not enough. It needs to be communicated confidently, shared internally, embedded in training, integrated into investment thesis, and reflected in how we articulate fiduciary duty. So I have a call to action for you. Let's build the internal business case for responsible investment together. Here is my ask to all of you. Use these messages to strengthen conversations internally with CIOs, portfolio leads, risk committees, boards, even clients. Position responsible investment not as a compliance requirement, but as a financial discipline. Share your success story. Show where ESG integration improved risk-adjusted returns. But at the same time, if you find gaps, tell us. The PRI is expanding this evidence base, and your cases, your needs, your challenges are essentials in shaping what comes next. Let's move from defense to confidence, from justifying ESG to demonstrating its financial value. Because at the end of the day, responsible investment is not about changing finance. It is about using finance at its best to deliver long-term risk-adjusted value in a changing world. Now, more than ever, the financial case is just not strong, it's essential. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Selim. So does anybody have any questions for Selim? No? The day's getting...
Thank you so much.
Only dropping our energy. Thank you, Selim. Oh, thank you very much. standing in at the kind of last minute 11th hour. So it's not the easiest of roles to play when you're kind of called up 2 days before. So thank you.